Guys, I want to get your input on how this pick feels for you. Matt, I want to start with you, sir, and I want to highlight you, and I just want to hear your opinion. You're the draft guru over where we are. How does this feel for the Steelers taking Najee Harris to you?
I've always been a little up and down on how high I am on Najee, but yeah, I like the pick. He's going to come in being an immediate contributor. Winning culture. He's a complete player. He's not one of those guys you got to project to see how good he's going to be. He's proven that he's already a great talent. So, he's going to come in and be able to immediately contribute to that offense. So I like the pick. Steelers are always about winning now, not trying to win down the road. So Najee's going to help them win some games this year. So I love it.
Nice. And Steeler Nation is noting the Steelers' time got down to 5 minutes, so they didn't sprint immediately to the podium. They took a little time this time. It's a big inside joke, Kevin. I know you've been probably following the Steelers for a while, but the Steeler Nation has always commented on the fact on how fast we get to the podium when the pick is up for the first round. And it seems like they try to break 4.40 records when they're when they're on the clock and it's draft day. But it helps out the NFL keeping the timing, I guess, between 11:30 and 8:30. So best of them on that. Moving next, I want to hear from you, Colton. I'd like to highlight you if you don't mind, and see what you'd like to say on this pick for the Steelers and what it means to you.
I love it. We talked about it when we first started this thing. Oh my gosh, feels like forever ago we started this video. But yeah, we talked about it then. We wanted Harris, and here he is. And it I posted when you were first talking to Kevin, I didn't know if they were going to go Najee. A lot of these tackles were falling that were supposed to go in the top 15, 20 range. It's like, all right, these guys shouldn't be sitting here, but they got their guy they wanted. It's kind of been told they were going to go Najee Harris. They got him. I can't wait to see Kevin blocking for him for this line. I think it's going to be a really scary backfield now with him. Throw a little sprinkle of McFarland hopefully this season, see if he takes a step as well. Same with Samuels and Snell. I think it's a legit backfield now, and you could trust that Harris is going to stay on the field. Love James Conner and all, and I love the story, everything with him.
Yeah,
he really couldn't stay on the field, and when he was healthy, he was legit. And the thing was, he's got to be reliable in there. I think that's what you're getting from Najee Harris. So I'm pumped. Here we go, man, and got their guy that we were talking about all night.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
You know what I'll also say really quickly now that you mentioned Connor?
Yeah,
I'm his biggest fan and so happy that the Cardinals did not go running back in this first round, because I know that they were one of the teams that people were saying may stand in the way of us getting Najee. Mm-hmm. And I'm really happy to see that they didn't go running back first, so that they, maybe that means they're planning on utilizing him in the way that I hope they are as their starting running back. I would love to see that. So that was also really cool.
So Morgan, what are your thoughts here on Najee Harris being the newest Steeler?
I've been preaching for weeks about how I didn't want to go running back in the first round.
Yeah. But now the way the draft fell, do you still feel the same way?
But I'm also, you know me, eternal optimist. Like,
right?
Hell yeah, I'm so pumped. This is the best idea we've ever had. Let's go.
Great.
I'm really excited. Obviously we've seen what he's capable of, what he brings to the table. He was the best running back in this class, if you ask me. I liked Javonte Williams a lot, and I think that he would have been maybe the guy if we didn't get Najee. But I'm pumped about it. Obviously, it's been an executive order from the top down that we establish and build the running game so that we're not, following everyone else, trailing the pack in the NFL in that category. So I think he does give us the best chance to do that.
Nice. So that's great. Job, I know that you're the stats guy, you're the analytics guy. What does this mean for you personally, having Najee Harris as the newest Pittsburgh Steeler?
Well, as is noted, I'm an Auburn fan, so I'm glad that he will be running through wide open holes, hopefully. That aren't against the Tigers.
He will be.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
So it's gonna be nice to see him running for my team versus for my rival. So that'll be nice. It's kind of looking at analytically. I really think this is going to be something that, I get there's a lot of, as the Yinzers highlighted a little while ago, the wannabe GMs are going to be dogging it, saying, oh, he's too old. He had too heavy of a workload in college. But, I mean, he's a baller. The dude is a stud. I am excited. So I think he's going to do really well, especially with some of the things I've observed in Matt Canada's previous college offenses. I think he's going to translate well.
Nice. And I'm getting zero shade online, no smoke. I'm getting lots of excited remarks here from Steeler Nation stating, yes, they're excited to have Najee Harris. Hell yeah, fuck yeah, let's go Harris. Steeler Nation is excited. This is great because this is rare, Kevin. This is rare when the Steelers make a first-round pick where everybody seems to be on board. And we just saw there was a Twitter feed that just came across our feed earlier today that was shared throughout the writers here at Steeler Nation, and it was showing fan reactions when TJ Watt was drafted. And
so good.
It was hilarious
So
because
good.
you had all of these, pseudo GMs with their pseudo draft charts stating like, this is the worst pick ever. They picked the worst Watt brother, and how wrong you are with not understanding how drafts work, how scouting players worked, and finding the right players to fit your team. And it's also even more difficult because I think for certain teams, they look for different types of players, and it's tough to get a square peg into a round hole. But when teams have a certain identity, and now this identity seems to be commitment to the run. I mean, drafting you was a big moment of commitment to the run, Kevin, as well as making sure that they drafted a running back here today. We heard that Rooney was upset. He wants more of a commitment to the run. What does it mean to you to have a team be more committed to the run?
It's one of those things where they know that if you can establish the run, it's guaranteed that you can get into the head of the opponent. Because if you can't stop the run, you can't stop anything. We run, it starts through the run, it ends through the run.
Yeah.
So if you can't stop the run, we're gonna be able to do play action all day. You're gonna be scared to actually get back into coverage because you want to be in the box. So if we run it down your throat and you can't stop it, and we just keep doing it, I mean, what can you do? There's nothing. You just getting beat and hoping that somebody does something wrong.
Yeah.
It opens up so many doors whenever you have that run game, and that's why the passing game became so ineffective there at the end of the season, because opposing teams just knew. They were like, okay, so Ben's gonna get the snap and he's gonna throw it right away for
some of the defensive lines, like sometimes you'll watch film and they'll come off crazy and do all the moves, but they knew that we didn't have that much of an effective game. So step and hands up, just trying to fly.
Right.
So it just it makes a huge difference when you can actually run and they have to be on their toes 24/7. Not get into a groove of, okay, he gonna pass it, he gonna quick pass, he gonna throw it deep, he gonna dunk. You got to actually worry about the run going inside, outside, and the thing we're adding this new Matt Canada offense is going to be, we've been going over the stuff for the last 4 days, and
wow,
the defense is going to be confused.
So, Kevin, how big of an influence was Matt Canada with the offense last year? It seemed like you guys were doing a lot of pre-snap motion earlier in the year before the injuries started happening, across the line, and some skill positions too at running back. How much influence did Matt Canada have in the locker room last year in instituting the offensive game plan?
He didn't have too much say. He didn't really have that much say so. He still had to go through Randy. So it's not, he couldn't have a full grasp. We couldn't do exactly what he wanted because we still had to run the game plan through Randy. You can't really tell somebody what else to do. I mean, what they need to do if they're over you.
Right.
So, I think now he's going to have that full range. We'll be able to see a bigger more diverse playbook.
Mhm.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
That pumps me up for
And
real.
Jordan, what are your thoughts now that Najee Harris is finally a Pittsburgh Steeler? I think that kind of falls in line with your thinking all night. So how are you feeling about it?
Oh my God, I'm having to really exhibit some self-control and not buy his jersey right away.
surprised you
I'm
haven't already.
super pumped. I know, right? It should be in my cart and shipping by now, but yeah,
You have room on your wall for it?
I would make room.
Build a new wall, Jordan.
Yes.
I need to create some wall space. Yeah, I honestly, I love it. I think that speaking of walls, I think the writing has been on the wall for quite some time, that this was the direction the Steelers were going to go in.
Yeah.
And I'm just so stoked to have a player of that caliber in the backfield. Like Morgan was saying, James Conner's awesome. I loved him. I was cheering for him so hard when he was here, and I will continue to when he's in Arizona. Like, I love him. He's such a great dude.
Yeah.
But you can't even try to claim that there was no drop off between Le'Veon Bell and him. It was monumental. Yeah. Like it was a huge loss having somebody who's that explosive in the backfield just leave.
Anyone would have been a drop off from Le'Veon, to be fair.
Oh yes, and that's not. Yeah, it's not a knock on Connor. It's just a knock.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you lose a player like that, you're gonna notice it, and we noticed it all across the board again, because when you don't have a run game, it's difficult to have an effective passing game. So now that we're incorporating that piece into the offense again, and hopefully we'll see them start to really pour into like addressing the other needs, like center, and maybe grabbing another tackle or guard, and just to solidify the line, and then we'll see what happens there. But I think for me, it wasn't address the running back position and ignore the offensive line. It was get the best running back available and then address the line. Like I was always hoping that they would go for a really talented back up front, because whenever they have tried to find somebody and kind of like dig through the weeds in the middle rounds for a difference maker at that position, they just it hasn't really panned out for them, and they haven't really been able to establish a running back by committee approach to anything. So like I'm very, very happy with this.
I love
I'm
seeing you this excited, Jordan. I
love it.
And it's a good thing that the Steelers did take Najee Harris when they did, because the next pick in the draft, Jacksonville Jaguars took Travis Etienne. So that was probably going to be Harris if the Steelers traded back.
That would have been interesting. Would have been interesting to see what they did, especially with Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if they would have went Najee, and they might have went Etienne just to keep him with his guy.
Yeah. And what were you saying, Kevin?
And I was at a toss up with both of them because I like both of their running styles.
Yes.
So I feel like whoever we would have got in that situation, I knew we were going to get one of them. I felt like I never really felt like we was going to do that for tackle.
Yeah.
Kind of wanted sometimes, but I feel like we got our tackle. We have at least 12, 13 offensive linemen right now. So
yeah. Wow.
Three on each side competing.
Yeah.
So I feel good about that competition.
That's awesome. And then Cleveland Browns, just to let everybody know, keep up with the draft. They ended up taking Greg Newsom II. His father played in the NFL. He's out of Northwestern. He plays cornerback. So their defense is getting a little stronger there in Cleveland with the addition of Greg Newsom II. And I know with Steeler Nation, Matt Papiernick as well, myself, we feel the same way as you, Dotson, and that was, we would have been fine either with Etienne or with Harris. We love both of their skill sets, at least from a watching perspective, being able to see how diverse these athletes are. Matt, if you want to add too, I don't know if you're muted right now too. Just give your thoughts.
Yeah, sorry. I was keeping myself muted. My wife just got back, so she's been creating a little bit of noise in here as I'm trying to watch the
fine.
draft and focus.
That's perfect.
But no, I was a fan of both ETN and Harris. You know, like Kevin said, they both kind of offer something a little different, and you know, could really help the Steelers offense. ETN offers that speed element, whereas Harris offers more that all around traditional Steelers running back feel. So I enjoy them both.
Nice.
To touch on the Browns pick, Greg Newsome, he's a good quarterback, and it'll be interesting to see him try to cover some of those Steelers wide receivers, especially since Newsome played a lot of zone in college. So I don't know the Brown scheme specifically, but converting from zone to possibly a primary man scheme, you know, trying to line up against a lot of the Steelers wide receivers will be interesting. But you know, it's always interesting to see who gets picked within the division.
I was just gonna say, I feel like our division is drafted pretty well tonight.
Mm-hmm.
They've been
Here's your
drafting
next
pretty
one
well for
coming
the
up.
last few years.
And Ravens coming up, yeah.
They're
So
going receiver. They're
they
going
have to.
tackle.
They
They're
have
going
to go
tackle.
receiver.
They're going for
Jenkins is sitting there.
the Ravens are going for the next wide receiver that they will use poorly for the next couple years. They just
going
cannot
Jenkins,
pick receivers no matter how high they draft them in the first round.
The
So
I really
next
hope they don't-
receiver who gets to catch passes from a running back.
well, there you go. Well, Bill, I wanted to get your input also. What are your thoughts on Steelers adding Najee Harris to the lineup?
I absolutely love it. This is the guy that I really wanted more than anything. Getting from an Alabama, there's been a great track record of Alabama players transferring from Alabama and making an impact in the pros and doing it pretty quick. So that was a huge thing on me as I looked up. You know, Alabama, Ohio State seem to have that big impact fast, and you know it'll make the O-line's job a lot easier to have a guy who can make a play. Not that James Conner was not able to, but you know, there's a different level of a player that can, you know, hey, you got one guy to beat, you can maybe make a move, you stiff arm, you can run through him, you can turn that 3rd and 2 into a moving 5 yards and move the sticks. So I'm excited as heck about getting him and you know, getting that running game going and grinding it out and getting into that rhythm. I think that we got the best running back that was on the board, which means, you know, in the past, the best running back on the board would go so much earlier.
Yeah.
So we got an impact player that can come in right away and start, you know, right off the bat. Just like everyone else, I love James Conner. I think that, you know, he was a power running back. He didn't have that great, you know, initial burst. You know, that Oregon once told me, you know, you have that, you know, breaking speed, you know, right off the bat. He didn't seem to have that. He was more of a power back and more like a Eddie George without, you know, Eddie George is, you know, a Greek god with his physique, you know. So it's not a knock on him to be like that. But he tried to run like that, and you know, it took its toll. So I root for him very highly, and I look forward to seeing Najee because I think he's gonna be a difference maker for us on offense. Give us a chance to turn the ball, hand it off, and
hang on a second. Morgan's showing us something here. Let me pin you here, Morgan. What is this a picture of?
Parental advisory.
Oh, parental advisory. Looks like they're getting ready to drop a new album. That looks absolutely fantastic. That's our coach Mike Tomlin and Kevin Colbert. Looks like it's hanging out at the draft.
Shad Bateman to the Ravens. There he is.
Yep.
Shad Bateman, wide receiver from Minnesota.
Wow.
The short one who Lamar can overthrow.
Right.
Bateman's legit, man. Bateman's gonna be really, really good if Lamar can get him the ball is the problem.
Yeah.
There was the old joke about Mark Malone that the Soviet Union was afraid of him because he was the only person that could overthrow their government. We may have someone else here.
Yeah. Samantha, I wanted to go to you also. I saved the best for last. I want to get your thoughts on this pick for Najee Harris now being a new Steeler so we can get everyone's opinion here on the board. Oh, you're muted. Yep. There you go.
Act like you've been here before, Sam.
Is that it? Yeah, it's just in delay. I guess you're in delay,
I'm in delay. Okay.
but I can hear you. Go ahead and
Okay.
talk.
Super excited. At first, I was kind of apprehensive about going running back first, but as the draft class went on, I was like, okay, it's really deep in the offensive line, so we could draft all our needs later. Whereas there was really only three top running backs in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm super stoked. We really did need to establish that running game, and we did it tonight. So
Awesome. And